Hello and welcome to the Bat and Barrow. First up, apologies for no videos in November. I just needed a break from making videos and, to be honest, start building and making what we're going to be looking at in this series, which is making the ultimate Lake Town gaming board for the Middle-earth strategy battle game, which in my opinion is one of the best games ever. And so we're going to be looking at this. And before we get going, I just want to explain a few things about it, like the reasoning why and the plans for this, and then we'll crack on. It's going to be a multi-part series, don't know how long at this moment. But yeah, when it comes to SPG, and I'm going to be making this specifically really for battle companies. If you don't know what battle companies is, it's like SPG's version of Mordheim, and we'll just discuss more on this in a bit. But when it comes to SPG, the more terrain you have on the board, the better. I think it does explain it somewhere in, I don't know if it's this rule book or one of them where it talks about terrain, and I think the ratios where it talks about it are wrong. As it says in the match play section of the rule book, you should always recommend a minimum of 33% of the board to be covered in terrain. I would say flip that, implying that 66% should be plain. Flip that, have it so you aim to get 66% minimum covered and 33% open. You'll have much more fun. And what I'm thinking of is there's a lot of rules in SPG that you really don't encounter in a game because it is just a few bits of terrain plonked in the middle or to the side. So things like defending barriers, fighting from above, jumping, leaping, climbing, all this doesn't really come into play, whereas I want a terrain dense packed board, kind of like when I made my 4 Norse board last year. That's what I had in mind for that, and it worked brilliantly and it plays so well. I did have plans to do more Middle-earth terrain this year, but this year has just gotten away with me. So from the next year I'm going to be making hopefully battle companies inspired boards that really make use of most of the rules in this, most of the fun rules in this. So what is battle companies? Battle companies is a, if you've ever played Mordheim, it's similar to that, it's just SPG's version of it. You create a war band, you play some games, you'll get injured, you'll get promoted, you'll get more people joining your war band. And for me, it's a really nice way of playing. I don't like playing armies, because it takes too long to paint them and get them together. Just for me, very limited in time. Whereas battle companies, let's have a look. So I'm going to maybe do a video next month if anyone's interested in creating 2 battle companies, an evil and a good. So the good one I was thinking of is Lothlorien. So it's just literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 models to begin with. You can get that painted up. And as an RPGer, first, before I was a wargamer, you get a lot of character in it. You get to name the characters. You get, as they get injuries and promoted, they grow, they level up, if you like. And so it makes it interesting, from an RPG point of view. They gain character is what I'm looking for. So yeah, my game boards are going to be tailored specifically for battle companies, but of course you could use them for just army games, plain army games with SPG. But with the terrain density that I'm thinking, it's not going to be any good. The boards, that is. So when I say I'm making the ultimate Lake Town board, what do I mean by that? Well, if you see other people's Lake Town boards, they're good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking them, they're good. They seem to be a lot of platforms with the odd house scattered about. You look at Lake Town in the film, it's densely packed buildings with walkways joining larger platforms, and that's what we're going to go for, and multiple height. Verticality is important. And why am I choosing Lake Town? Because it's getting sort of wintry and Christmassy, and Lake Town's snowy. So really what I'm actually doing this for is to get some snow. do something snowy, a project with snow, which I haven't really done. I think I've done one Ravenhill years back, but I want to do snow specifically and ice and do things like that. So that is what sort of the ultimate goal for this. But first we've got to build Lake Town. Now luckily on the channel we've already covered bits of it. I've covered making some docks. These are pirate docks, but we're going to need those. So you can either watch that video, which will be that's the quick and easy way. It's just using foam. There's no raised bits to it. You don't have to worry about cutting bits even. You can bash them a whole 4x4 table out in about 2 hours. Even then, that's taking your time and chatting. So you can go and watch that video, or what we're going to cover in here in this video is making some different types of platforms, a different way of doing it, way more detailed, raised up across the sea. So we're going to be sort of doing some wooden platforms in this video. We're also going to be looking at different types of houses. We're going to be covering, maybe looking at, I don't know if it's going to be this part, depends on how, me waffling here is not helping the length of this video. We're going to have a look at the GW house, some 3D printed houses, and some scratch built houses. Now, luckily, we've already got a video on the scratch built houses on the channel that I made a few years back for Lake Town houses. So you can go and watch that for the details on the video there. But one thing eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted in that video is I never made specific roofs for them because they use my modular housing system where you can clip together different houses to make them as tall as what you like. I used the roofs from another version of a house. It was a stone house. So the roof gable was actually made out of stone sitting on top of wood. That doesn't sit right. So the first thing we are going to need to do is make some roofs. So let's go on with that now. Okay, so the first thing I did was actually just work out the angle and size of the roof. This is just the width of the building, which is in my case 4 inches, and the height, which I think is 2 3/4 inches. I made a template that I cut out of cardboard that then I can just quickly use that to cut out sort of triangles for the roof. I need 2 per roof. I made 3 buildings before, but I'm going to make some more of the same buildings, so I'm going to need a load of them. I'm just going to cut that out of some foam. Once I cut out, I'm going to come in with just a pencil and just score in a plank texture. Some are going to do vertical, some are going to do horizontal, and then I'm going to come in and texture those with either a sculpting tool by hand, or you can use a wire brush. But what I ultimately done, which saved me a load of time, is found this on Thingiverse. It is a wood grain texture. Printed this out, and boy, does this speed up the project rather than engraving it by hand. Once we got the end bits done, we're going to need the sort of roof itself, the middle bit. Normally for this I use either cereal box card or corrugated card. Cereal box card's a bit flimsy, corrugated card's a bit sort of chunky. So for this I'm using 1mm chipboard, and this isn't the good stuff I buy that I make dungeon tiles out of. This is a cheaper variant I found on Amazon. No good for the dungeon tiles, unfortunately. It's a bit more bendy, it's not as sturdy, but it's perfect for this. I'm going to use this to cut out the size. I want a little bit of overhang over the gable, and so it's a case of measuring the length, doubling the width of the triangle of the gable, cutting out and scoring down the middle and folding it in half. A tip is for the length is in my houses are 6 inches wide, so make it 6.5 and have a 1/4 inch overhang. But before you glue it all into place, just mark in a 1/4 inch either side on the inside of the building. This will help you glue in the gables in place with ease. You know that they're going to be 6 inches spaced apart. With the same chipboard, what I'm doing is using my template that I made before, and gluing out the end gables. In the end, I do this for some. In the end, I just end up using coffee stirrers. But these I thought I could get a fancy little scroll bit at the bottom, but just use coffee stirrers. I only did this one for you. So once you've got it scored and cut out, you can see, yeah, here's where I glue it into place using that mark. So you can see that if I put it on the inside of that, it's going to sit 6 inches apart, which will then sit on top of the upper floor of the building. Okay, this is in the order I've done it in and not in any editorial order. I'd probably do the tiles next, but these are going to have chimneys. Looking at the as much pictures and film footage I could find for Lake Town, I needed, I can see that some had chimneys, so here I'm just making a little stone chimney. Some had what looked like a stone chimney, some sort of seems to just have a chimney coming out, like a sort of some wood stove inside. I'm going to make a little chimney, so I had these leftover blocks I made. If you want to know how to make these, if you've never done any terrain before, bit of foam cut into strips that are 6mm, 10mm wide, 1/4 inch high if you like, and about 1/2 inch long. Put them in a container with some stone, shake them up to get a bit of texture, and then here, just glue them all together. You could, of course, just make this out of a solid lump of foam and engrave it in, but it always looks better doing it this way. Okay, back onto my erratic. I've tiled this now. I've done this so many times on the channel. This is just strips of card that are 3/4 inch long, and then you just snip halfway along a tile thing and then do nicks out of them to make it look rough. But here I want to get the chimney, so I'm putting the chimney in place. I want to cut that angle out so I can put the roof in, offer it up, get that angle, and then cut it out with a knife. Once I've done that, we can hot glue that into place. And I've been using the Games Workshop, looking at how the houses, and that's what these are originally based on, the Games Workshop ones. What I later found out size difference, but we can get to that in a future part of the video. But I just wanted this little sort of overhang with a lantern on. So I just found this bit. I'm just going to glue on to the end, but I want it to sit raise up so models can get underneath it. It doesn't impede play. And if you're using these for role playing, you want to get inside, you want to sort of take the top floor off and put it down somewhere. I don't want it getting knocked off. So yeah, I'm just making sure that if it sits flush from the tabletop, the lantern doesn't, sits flush as well. Okay, I've also 3D printed out some chimney pots, so I can just glue those to the top of the chimney. If you don't have any of these, just a bit of straw or circular whatever painted black will do just as good. Yeah, make sure you glue it on first before you show it to the camera, unlike some certain idiot. Okay, another thing I found online you can print out just to add detail. That's why I love having a 3D printer. So you can still scratch build but add in some detail. It's ridge tiles. Looking at footage from the movies, and the best footage you can find is actually on the appendices, the behind the scenes. Especially there's one bit where Bard's, it's talking about Luke Evans' first day where he's on the rooftop scene, running around rooftops and things, and so you get a close look at the rooftops. I always have ridge tiles, so I found these on Thingiverse, scaled them for my houses and printed them off. So here I'm just sort of trying to scrape down, make it flatter at the top. I realise in the end you don't need to do this, it's a wasted step. And then just gluing this ridge tile into place. And with that, that is our roof made for the house, and some improvements made to the house with extra details added to them. Right, let's go over making the alternative platform method. So for this you're going to need some squared out, and if you watch Craig Johnson making stuff, squared out, I'm gonna have to buy one of these t-shirts. Go watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this squared out is 6.4mm thick and long, and it's about 30cm wide, which is shorter than I felt, which is why I've dropped down to metric, because this thing is in metric rather than imperial. So all I'm going to do is measure it 15cm, 6 inches long. So it's halfway, and then cut it in half. So out of one bit squared out, you get the two sides of the platform. I'm using my old mitre block for this, so I can get the cuts as neat as possible, and just cutting it through. You will need a lot of square dowels and coffee stirrers for this. So what I did before I started this is I spent a whole evening, because the coffee stirrers have some curved bits at the end. I spent a whole evening just cutting off the ends of the curves so they work straight. I just put a movie in with my wife, put my feet up in front of an amplifier and just sat there doing it. Got cramp in my hand by the end of the night, but got it done. 1,000 coffee stirrers, and it occurred to me perhaps I can just buy non-rounded ones. They exist, let me know. I haven't found them. But yeah, prepare. What you should do is, these take a long while to prepare, but once you've got everything cut and in place, you can make these in 2 minutes. So once you've got the coffee stirrers cut, you're going to want to have the size of them. Mine going to be 5 centimeters wide. So measure 5 centimeters on your coffee stirrers. For me, I got two 5 centimeter sections out of the coffee stirrer, leaving me about an inch over, which I then use later on to make using a similar method as this, but to make thinner platforms. And so for this, to begin with, what I do is I measure it all out, cut it all out, and this is what I'm saying. Once you've got it all the prep work done, you can make one in a couple of minutes. So let's see. So I come in with a bit of hot glue gun just on the ends, and I put one on each end. Just glue one cut coffee stirrer on each end. It's just to hold it in place. And I'm using my mat to help me line things up and make it all steady. Then using some PVA glue, I just apply it with my finger, apply it all down in between the two end pieces along the square dowel, and just come in and glue your cut coffee stirrers in between. The reason I'm using PVA here and not say hot glue is because it gives you more time to put them in place and make sure you can align them up and get them all fitted in correctly. Okay, so these are going to be raised up off the floor to allow ice and that to go underneath. So for this, if you have a banana bit of squared out, it'll be perfect for this. What I'm doing here is just marking the top bit because I'm going to cut it in half. I don't want to worry about getting, cut it into little small feet. I don't want to be worried about getting that top cut all even because I'm not very good at cutting. So rather than worrying about that, I'm just going to use the height of the squared out as the height of the foot. So I'm marking it out just to make sure that once I've cut it out into cubes, I know that if I glue that pencil mark onto the bottom of the platform rail, it's all going to be the same height, and my cut can just be put facing inwards so no one can see how rough it is. So you'll need to cut a good ton of those. I'm putting 6 on each one, just using my miter block to do this. But once you've got them cut out, you can come in with some PVA or hot glue and glue them into place. This makes a lot of sawdust, so I'm keeping this for the time being because I'm going to possibly do something with it later on. Make my own flock out of it in the future. See how that goes. What I did end up doing though with these little feet nubjules is it really hurt the hand cutting these little quarter of a centimetre, quarter of an inch, half a centimetre sort of block. So I cheated and went down the 3D printing route, and I did that for the top stuff as well. The top is a minute, but I'll go over the process with wood just in case you don't have a 3D printer. But boy, this is where a 3D printer really comes in handy. So once you've got that cut in, I can show you now if I sort of almost a uninterrupted edit of this. So I'm just going to let you play through this just to see how quickly it is done. So if I shut up, I'm not going to speed it up. I'll just sit here and we'll watch it together. Am I facing the right way? That way, isn't it? I'm looking at right now. I'm not looking at anything. But I might as well talk through this. Yeah, thinking about the process of 3D printing. Yeah. So I've come to realise having a 3D printer this year, my trusty Neptune 4, Elegoo Neptune 4. It's great for things like this. I still scratch build an awful lot. I can print out stuff if I want to, just to save a bit of time, and we will cover printing off 3D printings in this project. But it just allows me to do things like cutting out those feet was taking too long. In half hour, you can have a shed ton of them printed out, all perfectly sized. You don't have to worry about it, and ready to go. I was going to say I was going to leave this in. Even so, I don't know if I can speak for another 2 minutes. Trust me when I say it takes just 2 minutes. There's a minute 47 left. about 3 minutes to make, so I'm going to skip ahead. Just have to take my word for it that what I'm saying was true. And here's me just making a similar thing what I said with the offcuts of the shorter offcuts of the coffee stirrer. Just making a little platform for variation. What I wanted as well is not just walkways, I wanted kind of bigger platforms, so I thought I'd experiment with this and just make this sort of frame up using square dowel, and the principle's still the same. I've just got a middle what they called buildery people, noggin, rafter, just for support. And so I made a few of them that size, and then I also, with that confidence to make them that big, I made one more of a rectangle to fit the house onto. So the houses we've made already, they can fit on top, so I'm doing that here. Again, principles all the same. One thing I did do is have these, looking at the GW pictures for inspiration, these sort of end bits to make a little fence at the corner, so just gluing those in place, and coffee stirrers just as the horizontal bar. Painting, first up, get some dark brown. I'm using some of this burnt umber and just base coating that, and when it dries, so I'll be left with this sort of reddish brown colour. If you don't mind that, fine, but if you want a more dark colour, perhaps undercoat it in black first. I like this. Next, coming with a cream and give it a dry brush all over. So I'll see there how it's making it look a bit weathered. So for this, just a real light amount. You know how a dry brush works. As much off as possible. Coming with a dry brush and apply that all over. Don't forget about the sides. When it's dry, it will look like weathered wood. The original quick and easy platforms that I made out of foam, this is about the level we left the painting at, just, you know, base coat and a dry brush to weather it. But with these, we're going to go a step further. So I'm going to grab Reichling Fleshing, a little weed shake, and then just pick out some planks with it at random, or random as the human being allows, because we want to see patterns everywhere. Just pick out some planks, and this will give, you know, some variation in the planks already, but it's looking a bit like a zebra crossing, which we don't want. More variation, so I have homemade brown wash. This is just dirty paint water when it's, you know, that sort of grim stage. A bit of brown paint and a bit of black ink put in there, and so that we can use that to color a few more planks in a different colour. And you do want to leave some of the original colour in as well, because that's just variation. Basically, this is just take some different brown inks and shades and washes and what have you, and pick more planks out. So next up, I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade. So, my wash is more like a flat dark brown. Agrax is this sort of richy brown. So just leave that to dry. Okay, when it's all dry, you get this looks like you spent ages painting it all individual colours each plank, but you haven't really, because you just painted it one colour and given it a wash really quickly. Looked great. Next up, let's get a bit of grime added to this. We're going to have some of this Aphonian camo shade. What I'm going to do here is come on around the feet, along the bottom here, like the tide's risen and we've got some grime here. Do that here. Get the inside from this. Here bits here. Repeat on this side. And this is we'll take it from looking good to, you know, the next level. Weathering, I love weathering. Weathering's just the best when it comes to terrain. I love weathering things. It just really adds quick, easy bit of, you know, just adds that extra detail. And then we can come in and maybe just add some around here, maybe where ships have been moored here. Ropes have got wet. We can just add in some weathering just on the edges here. And the walkway along the edges, ends, and maybe even the middle here. Maybe just have a splodge there for no reason. Just, you know, knock yourself out. Have fun with it. Yeah, let that dry. And we can just add a bit of detail work to it just to complete it. I'm doing one at a time, but if you batch paint these, you can paint these out, a whole rake of these in just an hour. Yeah. Once all the grime's dry, well, that's what it looks like. Let's put some, you know, get underneath it, raised up. But let's add a bit of detail to it first. These mooring posts, we're going to need to add something for this. So you can add some necklace jewelry rings, which I've done in the past. But here, these things here are actually meant to be door knockers. I've 3D printed. You're going to hear that a lot. This is what 3D printing is all about for me. Scratch building, but allowing me to, you know, rather than buying jewelry rings, I can print a load of these off for next to no money at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blob of glue here and drop one of these on. So probably better off using super glue for this, but for the purposes of this video, use some hot glue. I'll paste one up with tweezers, so it's going with my fingers, and yow. Okay, so yeah, got those on there. Some rings so you can get your boats, your little boats. Now we can moor up to them. But let's add a bit more detail. Let's add some bag of stuff I'll print it off. So we've got these things here. Let's first one I want is, speaking of rope, is some rope. And what I'm going to do with these platforms is add bits of cargo and what have you. So first thing is though, let's add a bit of more into the let's see, yeah, glue that in. Just get some details and glue them in. Yeah, so what I might do is chests. You've got anything, you've got chests, barrels and whatever's, just get these in, and it will save time setting up to make it interesting. Not, you don't have to use all your scatter, but little bits and pieces like this, you know, maybe put that there. This is from the GW kit, so you know, put these things like that. Just add quick bit of, so when you put these down, you've got a quick bit of sort of detail, and also sort of shoot from behind it, defend it, you know, duck down behind it. It's tactical as well. Yeah, just add little bits and pieces onto the platforms as you see fit. You know, I can do that now, but yeah, that platform's done. Okay, I'm almost going to leave it here for this part. We've made a shit ton of platforms, made some improvements to our old existing houses. But before we go this week, or this, don't know how often you come out for this part one, let's take a look at the Games Workshop house. Let's go and buy one. Okay, let's just go to Games Workshop site and have a look at the cost of the Lake Town ruins. Yeah, no. So okay, whilst that's a bit hyperbolic, it's not as expensive as say the Dol Guldur ruins, but still quite expensive. So I had a bid on eBay to get one of the sort of, like, I think it's the older sets. So I got this. Well, I did end up in the bidding war, so in the end, 26 quid. So it's still safe money. So let's have a look at it before I start building it. The instructions. Sure. Oh, okay. This is smaller than what I was expecting. Not gonna lie. Wow. Okay. Is that the size of the house? Because blimey. Here's my houses I've been building. Wow, this is gonna be a midget house. Hobbit house, I should say. For purposes of Lord of the Rings. Wow, okay. It's gonna be small. Do I have access to an old shed I built? I consider this a shed. It's gonna be smaller than that. Okay. Okay, so there's the boats. There's my 3D printed boats there. Too much difference in that. Barrels. They're titchy barrels. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. The outhouse. Oh, blimey. My outhouse is bigger than their actual house. Is that its Hugo? It's midget size. This is 10 mil, isn't it? Look, Hugo won't fit in there to do his poop hoops. Even if he sits down, this is... Well, glad I didn't pay full price. These are really small compared to mine. These are like my narrow ones that I'm making, the platforms. Sure, I won't pay 30 quid for this. Feel a bit ripped off paying 25 quid for it, 26. Was with postage. Oh, let's get it assembled. I won't be adding any more to these, I can say that definitely for now. Okay, let's take a look at where we're at the moment. So we got platforms and we got houses, and you can see how small this GW house is to the ones I've built before. My houses have windows, you've seen the video, so you can put LEDs on and lit. That's something else I'm going to want to do for this board is have lots of lights. All the houses, all the other buildings will have LEDs. There'll be little LED thingies, street lights and lanterns all over here. That juxtaposition of the cold snow and the warm LEDs. And if you look, you might be thinking, right, I need to make a load more platforms, because at the moment I would say it's looking like this bit here is looking like, every other Lake Town board. A few buildings scattered about, platforms going about with lots of empty space. Now, yes, you might be saying I need more platforms to fill in all this empty space, but I don't. Well, walkways at least. I want bigger platforms with sort of buildings. I want the town square, the market building, maybe a tavern, the tower that Bard climbs up to shoot the black arrow. A few other more generic buildings. The jail going across like the river here. So I'm going to build those. I think I'm okay for platforms, and if I do need to make more, they're really quick to make. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's what we'll do next video. We're going to get some more buildings going, some more scratch builds, maybe some 3D printed buildings, and get that going. And then we're going to have to think about, we got all this scenic stuff that looks good, all this little sort of details, that's great, but we can get more, make it more, get more little bits and pieces. More outhouses, because I want to incorporate as many of the rules from battle companies for Lake Town as possible. Some ice, boats, we need some boats. I've actually put the GW boat on here, but we need some boats. So we're going to do that next video, next few videos. Still not too sure how to do the water. I am kind of thinking just painting this board sort of dark watery colour, black. Putting a load of varnish on it to make it shiny. I'm maybe using that at the moment. Just got a neoprene matte on there, but yeah. Okay, I think that is where we're going to leave it now for this video. Next part, we're going to make some more buildings, different types of buildings. We're going to 3D print some buildings. We're going to got GW's buildings put down, and we're going to do some detailing. But for now, I think that's where we're going to leave it. Hope to see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, take care, bye bye bye.